Hey guys, Kevin here. Let's have a look at the basics of programming. So over here, we're going to be looking at multiple things. We're going to be looking at how we can print things, how we can take input from the user, how we can use variables, data types, comments, etc. So let's first head on to Google Colab. All right, I've created a file called Learn Python. Let's write a text file. Let's put a hashtag for heading, and let's name it variables. All right. Now putting a hashtag over here, what it does it gives it a heading, it gives it a font increase, size increase. If I were to write something like this over here, it would be of a smaller font. So that's for text, this for heading. There are multiple sizes in it as well. If you were to use two hashtags, the size would decrease. Three hashtags, the size would decrease again. But we're going to be using first hashtag. All right. Let's write a code cell and let's write hashtag. So first of all, let's learn about comments. What are comments? Let's say I've written a piece of code. Now, if you show this code to someone else, uh, if you have written comments, it is easier for them to understand what you are basically trying to do in the next set of code. So, uh, taking input from the user, right? And printing things, right? So to take input from the user, what you do is you take a variable, all right? Let's say variable k, write input, and then inside quotes, enter, let's say enter your name, all right? To print things, what you can do is you can write the print, and then you can write k. Now what is k? K is a variable. What are variables? Let's have a look. Variables are containers which can store values inside them. So let's say that in this example, I wanted to store the name of the person and then I want to greet them. Let's say I want to greet them that hello Kevin or whatever their name is. So first we'll ask them what's your name. They'll be like David, and then we print hello David. Alright. Let's say we want to do something like that. We'll use variables. What variables do is they store that value. They first occupy some space in the memory, and then they store the particular entered value inside that space, and then whenever we want to do anything, they just give you the value whenever you need it just by writing their name. That's a variable. And to declare a variable, there's no specific command like we had in C++. In C++ and C we had to declare that let it be a integer, let it be a string, and then the name. Here you just write the variable, let's say k, and then you just give a value to it, and it automatically assumes a data type. What are data types? Data type is the type of data that is stored inside the variable. Now, that's a very vague definition, but what basically it does is that let's say I've put a number inside it. A number, or to be specific, an integer. So that variable is of the type integer. If I want to store something like a name, it will be of the data type string. If I want to store a decimal, it will be of the data type float. Alright. As you can see over here, text is string, for numeric, it's integer, float, complex numbers. For sequences, to store sequences, you can use list, tuple, then there's range, there's dictionaries. There are multiple things we're going to be exploring in the future. Comments, as I said earlier. So now another thing, important thing, that while you want to name variables, when you want to give a name to the variables, you can use underscores, you can use numbers, and you can use all the characters, that is a b c d e f g up to z. You can use all of them in capital or small. All right. However, just one clause: the name of the variable cannot start with a number. All right. The name of the variable can be Kevin underscore one. All right, no problem with that. It can never be one underscore Kevin. All right, it can never start with a number. All other cases are valid. All right. Also, one more thing. Let's say you make two variables. Let's say Kevin with a capital K and Kevin with a small k. They are case sensitives. They will be considered as two different variables. All right. So let's just head on to our coding space, and yeah, let's first print. Yeah, we have already written print over here, and then let's write uh, hello. Then let's put a space. Then let's put a comma. Then yeah. Now when you run this, let's say my name is Kevin. hello Kevin, right? As simple as that. We don't need this space over here. So if I were to write David, hello David, right? So that's how your print and input works. Now let's say I want to take a number as an input. All right, let's say I want to create a summation. If I want to do a summation, I'll declare a variable a input, enter number 1. All right, enter number 2. Now you would assume that there is nothing wrong with this. The problem is that whenever you use the input function, whatever input given by the user, it will be stored as a string. All right. So what you will need to do is you will need to do something known as casting. So you will need to put int in brackets outside the input function. I'll just explain it to you. So let's put int over here as well. All right. And let's do a plus b, and let's just print a plus b. Print a plus b. All right, and let's run this. Wait, let me do one thing. Let me write this in a separate cell. Let's create a new code cell. Let's paste it over here. Let's run this first. This is the best thing about Python notebooks, that you can split your code inside cells. You can also write text. Let's run this code. All right, number 1 is, let's say, 5. Number 2 is 10. You get the answer as 15. Now let's say I didn't put the int over here. All right, if I just remove this, right, and if I run this, 5 and 3, we get an error. What's the error? Unseparated operand type, int and string. All right, if you see over here, int and string. Int and string obviously can't be added out. Another thing that we can do to prove our point is, if I comment this out, there's this function called type. Now what type does is it returns the data type of the variable. So let's say you took a variable, you took a value, and you don't know the data type of that value. What you do is use the type function, and obviously we need to print it. All right, we can't do anything with the like the type will be stored, however it won't be displayed. So because we want to display it, we'll put them in a print function. So yeah, let's run this. So number 1 is 5, number 2 is 10, and we got the class as integer for A and the class as string for B. So that's why we need to do this, right? Another example of this could be that I create a variable called K and I name it, let me write it in a different cell. Just copy this. Let's uncomment this. Let's create a new cell. Let's write this. Let's write casting. Right, now what's casting, you might ask? Let's say I create a variable called k and I assign the value 60 to it. All right, so as we learned earlier, when you just directly assign a value, k should have the type of an integer. Let's test it as well. All right, uh, yeah, if I run this, class integer. Now what if I were to do this? If I would do that, uh, p equals to int, sorry, string, so str and then k, and then if I were to print the type of p and if I were to run it, we got the class as string. So what happened is we took the variable 60 and we used the str function. What it did was it casted the variable k, which was an integer, it converted it to a string. So if even if I were to print p and then print k, all right, look at the difference. All right, we got 60 and 60 over here. However, there's no visible difference. However, the k is a string. This is used in many cases. Sometimes when I give you the input, or sometimes you have something coming from somewhere where you don't know the data type of it. You could either directly convert it to an int, like we did over here in the summation example, or you can do something like this. What you could do is you could take the input of a, you could cast it into an integer, and then do a plus b. That's also correct. All right. So I guess that's it for this video, and yeah, let's move on. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to see more of such tutorials. Give me a follow on Twitter at @KevinPKaria. And if you have any queries, feel free to send an email at ask.kevinpkaria@gmail.com.